A rose for the garden, smoke for the fire, stars for the sky, and you for me. Yeah, I really used to spit bars like that to attract a female. And oh boy, I tried it all. To my 13-year-old schoolboy brain, that sounded deep, smooth, serious. But the local folks from my tribe, they were like, yo, that's kinda original. Still, somehow, instead of admiration, I got rejection. Now I'm 14, and they've changed. These days, you can make a girl fall for you with just one line. Wanna egwelts? Whatever that means. Works better than Shakespeare. But here I am, sitting and wondering, should I even get into a relationship? Is there even a point? Not gonna lie, I don't have much experience in the horizontal tango department. Only holes I've ever entered were game portals, alright? But when it comes to relationships, I'm on the borderline, baby. What? I'm freezing out here like that joke about the hot dog wrapped in dough. Let's start from the top. Why do you even want a relationship? They ain't sausages, you know. You gotta figure out what you're after, freedom or connection. Wanna keep it casual? Go for it. The road of open relationships is wide and wild. But hey, karma's watching, buddy. Your partner might have wanted something serious, and you just ghosted them like a villain in a rom-com. Even if you're the heartbreaker, you better master the art of a clean breakup. Something like, Lara, time is like sand slipping through the fingers of life. You can't count the grains, but one day your hand will be empty. The grains merge and become eternity. Yeah, poetic. But let's keep it real. Time's like sand. Your fingers? Gone. Eternity glued together like cheap slime. So, real talk, your best bet? Find someone who's down for no strings attached. Because if you go serious, you better brace yourself for the dreaded question. How many partners have you had? And if your values don't align, that's okay. Some people treat sex like a sacred ritual. Others treat it like a Tuesday night snack. Guess who's more likely to cheat? So here's the deal. Want easy flings? Find a match who's into the same game. Be straight up about what you want. Don't go around breaking hearts, man. Because when that circle starts, bad guy breaks a good heart. Good heart turns cold. Cold heart wrecks another good one. Now everyone's just walking around all damaged. And if you're dreaming about that fairy tale love, that eternal harmony of souls, forget it. The odds of finding the one are like 1%. Still, everyone thinks they're that special 1%, right? She's not like the others. She's different. She's the one. Yeah, I said that too. I was on that chain just like you, believing, hoping. And guess what? I heard the same stuff you're hearing now, and still convinced myself otherwise. Truth is, we suck at choosing people who match our values. I swear I'm more likely to replace my 1,000-year-old socks than for all of us to finally understand that. I remember that exact moment when my values just flipped, like bam, and I went against everything I believed in. And then, surprise, surprise, I got tossed out like some wet puppy left in the rain. That's when I realized, modern relationships? Yeah, they sound magical on paper, but in real life, oof, not so much. Let's break it down together. What do you bring into a relationship? Time, money, sanity, and what do you get back? Just a tiny sprinkle of hope that maybe, just maybe, this thing won't crash and burn. That's it. End of list. A lot of folks say, don't even think about relationships till you're 25. Well, guess what? I say you can skip thinking about them at any age. Because needing a relationship is the kind of need that doesn't actually exist. It's a social illusion. Since you were a baby, they've been grooming you to believe you owe someone grandkids. Yup, that's the endgame they plan for you. And then your brain runs with it, and the second you hit 20-something, you start hearing those little guilt trips. When am I gonna get a grandbaby, huh? Bro, I'm still figuring out how taxes work. I'm not ready for life, let alone making one. But wait, those guilt trips don't even wait till your 20s. You don't want to get a girlfriend? When I was your age, I already had a baby. Cool. When I was that age, I became a decent artist, or a solid programmer. Also, fun fact, I make more money now than you did after 20 years of parenting, so what's the real flex here? So, which one's better? Relationships or self-growth? Well, let's talk about free time. You won't have any. Gone. You sit down to read a book and boom, text message. You play one game of Dota, it lasts an hour, and every 10 minutes, ding, ding, ding. Why aren't you answering? Miss a reply? Drama. Even at the gym, between sets? Ding again. Sure, sometimes you find a partner who's also into fitness, eats clean, avoids bad habits, and your time together becomes a shared activity. That's a win. And yeah, one more thing that really matters, sexual preferences. It's a big one. Like, imagine you meet this total goddess, great personality, everything's perfect. And then she goes, hey, can you poop on me? Yay. No thanks. Exit stage left. So here's the main idea. If you, for example, don't believe guys and girls can just be friends, then you need a partner who sees it the same way. Otherwise, boom, drama. Don't like parties? Find someone who likes staying in too. But don't get cocky. The odds of finding a perfect match? Super low. You can hope, sure, but don't sacrifice your goals for a fantasy, and definitely don't gamble your future on it. And if you're a gym demon grinding every day, trust me, those intrusive thoughts about girls? Gone. You'll start noticing the guys instead. Wait, what? And hey, if you're asexual or your libido's chillin' at sub-zero, then honestly, relationships ain't even a problem. You're living life on easy mode. And if you're also deep into anime, then boom, a waifu for a few evenings can totally replace a real girlfriend. No limits, no heartbreak. Well, almost. Cause when your favorite anime ends, bam, that post-show depression hits just like a real breakup. And that's the second big idea here. If you do want a good relationship, you gotta show up already leveled up. You need to have something to bring to the table. Dating requires time, money, attention, confidence. And where do you get all that? Self-growth, baby. Hit the gym, gain that six-pack. Plus 10 to attractiveness. Read books, philosophy, science, deep stuff. Plus 10 again. Because the more you know, the better you connect. Just don't touch those self-help books with cheesy covers. That's brain junk food. Think a lot? Reflect on your past mistakes? Boom, plus 10. Because deep thinkers become smart people, and smart people inspire others. And of course, learn to make money. The more you earn, the more freedom you have. Until you've stacked up all that XP, relationships shouldn't be tormenting your soul. But the worst thing you can do? Get into a relationship that drains all that growth. Nah, you want one that adds to it. Build yourself first. Understand what you like, what you need, what makes you tick. The right person will find their way in. You just gotta open the door to the right one. And never ever feel ashamed for not being in a relationship. Especially if you're a virgin. That's actually awesome. Means you're not giving yourself away to just anybody. You're treating that part of you with respect. Keeping your value high. No sexual inflation here. There's no timer on when you need to start dating. And there's definitely no need to spiral about it. If you've got insecurities, like thinking you're unlovable, not attractive enough, or not skilled, work on them. First off, your appearance? Just packaging. What matters is what's inside. Some people look like models but can't hold a convo. And some, well, they open their mouth, and the beauty disappears real quick. Charisma and confidence? Always top tier. That's what draws people in. That's what makes you shine. Second, don't know something? Learn it. You're not stuck. Unless, like, you're actually stuck. But 90% of y'all just need to fight the laziness. And third, if you don't love yourself, no one else can. I know, it's cliche. But real talk, the simplest truths are always the hardest to live by. There's nothing better than finding someone who shares your world and fills it with good vibes. The more alike you are, the smoother the ride. Thanks for watching, and I hope you find your happiness out there.